told, for example, that the Ashanti regional minister has issued some directives and so on, because he's chairman of the Regional Security Council. What happened to all the 16 regions to become heads of security monitoring and so on? What are you doing? You're handing over security, the affairs of security with regards to this election, to party activists. And that's a huge problem. You understand? So I'm getting increasingly worried within the last few hours, based on the announcements which are being made, based on the actions which are being taken and so on. And some of them really, as of now, do not make any sense at all. And we need better clarification.
And we see similar also with the Ashanti region RegSec that released a statement on security in the Ashanti region. They've asked dignitaries that come to polling centers to vote not to bring their private security of any kind there. They are also asking the voters themselves to make sure that they are nowhere to be found after they have voted. That is also problematic, isn't it?
But that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Usurping the work of the...
Exactly. This is for the regional election security task force to deal with, not the regional minister. The regional minister is a party loyalist. He cannot be handling security. You understand? So these points have to be made very, very clearly. Right. You understand?
I mean, but then if that, I mean, that is the case, not if that is the case. The regional election security task force should be acting, shouldn't they?
Of course.
But we haven't heard anything from them since those two statements came out.
You see, there's a problem. Whether we like it or not, the fact of the matter is that the regional minister is still the regional minister, and is still the chairman of RegSec or whatever it's called. Yep. You understand? And given his position, it's going to be extremely difficult for people working in regimented organizations to challenge him. So if there's a regional police commander, are we expecting him to take on the Ashanti regional minister? No. Given his subordinate position and so on. Okay. So it is up to these office bearers themselves to exercise restraint and to avoid making decisions and taking actions which may be suspicious. It's up to them to do that. It's their duty to exercise some restraint.
Indeed. Lawyer, your take on this matter, the closure of the land borders and the issues to do with RegSec now giving security instructions.
Yeah, so, you know, this land borders, this closure is something that is usually done every election year, right? Yeah, you can even remember in 2016, Kennedy Japan prided himself as being somebody who led a group of people to the border, and then they succeeded in making sure it was closed, people didn't come in, etc., right? Because of that perception that some people who are not qualified are usually allowed to come in from, especially Togo. You know, we're just going back into the history. So when it comes to Aflau, you know that usually it's key to a ruling government, especially when the NPP is in power. They try to have it closed so that people don't come in. But I'm thinking that now we've moved on. I mean, meaning we've made a lot of progress. So I tend to side with Senior Kwesi Pratt. But listen, those days where we would close the border because it's non-Ghanaians were coming are gone. You have NPP reps at each polling station. So if somebody comes in there and his name is not in the register, how is the person going to vote? And that's why the police are also there. So really, it's difficult to appreciate the need for the closure at this time. You see, yeah, let's look at it. Over 20 years ago, we had a certain situation. Number one, even the vigilance, etc., was not this high. Today, you see that, especially, it's even the NPP that. So they have every incentive to make sure that their polling agents will check, because we vote one by one. So when the election is named, blah, blah, they do check. So if his name is named, you vote.
Perhaps it could stem from, you know, in the lead up to the 2016 election, the NPP had made allegations of how some Togolese, Burkinabes, Ivorians were on the register and they had seen their names elsewhere and all that. You know, that may have created the distrust that exists today. That, you know, we will still have such people on our voter roll.
When they were given the opportunity, could they prove it?
Please.
Baumia couldn't prove it. It turned out to be false.
Mr. Pratt, hang on. Let me hear from him and then I'll come to you.
Yeah, it was a ruse. 2016, I was supporting them. We're all supporting that. Yes, if they are such foreigners, let's remove them. But given the opportunity, a committee was set up. But I couldn't prove it. It turned out to be a lie. You see where his lies started? By that time, we were all happy because bottom line is that we wanted JM out. So it was a non-issue. But that is actually the beginning of his lies. Because, they have to go lose 50,000. They set up a committee. That's the crab committee. He went in there. He couldn't prove. He couldn't prove. So the thing is that we vote one by one at each polling station. And the person has to mention his name before he's given a ballot. It is checked, and then he's given a ballot. So for me, I am very confident that we don't need to close the borders to have any peaceful elections. No, as we speak right now, do you know that even with that, we've closed borders, but there's an incident in Gal South where the DC Joseph Nyani is said to have assaulted a journalist. So you've blocked the borders. Isn't violence going on internally? Gal South, the MC slapped a journalist.
Let me hear from Mr. Pratt now on the same.
A lot of people talk out of ignorance. Complete ignorance. You understand? They probably have never been to the Ghana-Togo border before. They don't know what exists on the Ghana-Burkinabe border and so on. Look, you go to the Ghana-Togo border, and I've been there. You find one house. The bathroom is in Ghana, and the kitchen is in Togo. The people on the border are not worried about these divisions which the colonialists, made in the past and so on. And it has been there from the beginning of the history of Ghana. It's been there from the beginning of the history of Ghana. There are Ghanaians who live in Aflao and go to school in Togo. There are Togolese who live in Lome and come to school in Ghana and so on. So this fixation about who is a Ghanaian and so on can only come from backward minds. Very, very backward and ignorant minds. Why? As Lawyer Pebu is saying, you have a voters register. Indeed, we are told that this is one of the best voters registers we have had, since history and so on.
Indeed.
So if indeed this is one of the best voters registers we have had since history and so on, allow the people to come. If they mention their name or show their cards and their names are on the register, they are eligible to vote as Ghanaians. What's the problem? Why do you disenfranchise them? Now, what we have done by closing the borders is that they are legitimate Ghanaians. They may not even be Ewe. They may be Fanti, they may be in Zema and so on, who live in Lome, who have planned that tomorrow morning they will cross over and come and vote for their favorite party. You've disenfranchised them. How can you justify that? How can anybody justify that?
I see. And then we also heard this evening, or rather earlier in the afternoon, right, about how the NDC news conference in the Ashanti region was scattered. We have no idea those who scattered it, but there hasn't been any word from the police on this. Is it telling, Mr. Pratt?
Well, the information that I've had, because I also heard about it, and I did my own cross-checking, and I don't think that the picture which is being painted by the media is the correct picture.
Okay.
What I'm told is that the regional executive, including the national organizer of the party, had some intelligence indicating that some persons had been bussed in from Accra, to cause disturbances and so on. And they had that intelligence yesterday. Now, today, they decided to hold a press conference to expose this matter and then to take other measures and so on. The NDC task force in the region disagreed with that and said, look, if we have the intelligence, why are you going to hold a press conference? Let's go and attack them. You understand? So the leadership of the party, including the national organizer, disagreed with the task force, which wanted some immediate, hot action in order to address this matter. That is what happened.
I see.
That is all that happened. Nothing more, nothing less.
But we haven't even entered the voting day proper, and these things are coming up.
But the point is that the media, you hear reports that there's a press conference which has been disrupted and so on. At least you have the telephone numbers of the people involved, the people who called the press conference. So why can't you put a telephone call to them to find out their side of the story? Why? What does it take to take a telephone and make a call to Joseph Amin? All of you have the telephone numbers of Joseph
But we were at the venue where the incident happened. So
how come that this information is the one which is being peddled by everybody?
This one appears to be insider information. What you are telling us now, but what
makes it an insider information? I'm not a member of the regional executive. I haven't gone to Kumasi. We all do this by telephone checks, common, simple telephone calls. All of us as journalists, when things happen in places where we are not there, you call up the people who are supposed to know, who are the main actors, and you get your relevant information from there.
I see. Anyway, so I was saying that if at this time we're already seeing these skirmishes, we've seen one in what was the concept
Joseph Yani, MC, a slap.
It's bothersome that we haven't even entered the election.
I said there are some soldiers there. Actually, that's what's caused it. Oh yes, but I believe overall we will pull through. We will pull through. You know,
but at what cost?
Yeah, certainly not at the cost of 8 more lives. Certainly not at the cost of 8 more lives. So we are begging IG. He should do the work well. Don't allow these the ruling government. They are the ones who caused this death the last time, because you see those people, whether military or they were just people in military uniform, is a ruling government. We are laying the blame at the doorstep of the NPP. So IG Dampari, we beg you, put your foot down. Put your foot down. Don't let that kind of violence occur. That's why we ask that the soldiers shouldn't make it to the polling stations. Yes, because it's a security matter, it's been agreed that they will be put on standby. And being put on standby means that they should be out of sight and out of hearing. Out of sight and out of hearing. Don't let people see them near the polling station. Yeah, let them be nearby. If the barracks to some polling stations is too far, you can move them a bit near back. They should be out of sight and out of hearing in all the polling stations, so that people will be free to exercise their franchise. We don't want any more violence. And you know, they are Blake Kuma one. That place was a national security agent who shot. Yes, the one that involved naming the journalist, etc. You see that case?